Hello, you guys. Eilers-Heffner. Welcome to our ending of The Slight Edge, the last two chapters. However, the last chapter isn't really too much of a chapter other than to say thanks for getting on the book and good job reading it and a quick review of the book. So I'm not really going to cover that, but I did really like how in chapter 17 he just talked about really thinking about what our dreams are, what are the steps that we do to take them, what are we really thinking and dreaming and writing those things down, and are we goal setting, are we taking action steps and breaking down each area of our life that we want to improve on. So that I thought was really valuable. And just thinking of one step, like one, if you do nothing else, right? Like what's the one thing that you could change and do every single day, day in and day out, that's going to have an impact on your entire life. And I really just thought of like reading my Bible and praying. Like I usually think of those together, but reading my Bible and praying every single day and making sure that that happens as a highest priority. And that's going to have such a huge impact on every single other thing, relationships, our jobs, our plexus business, our friendships, our workouts, our health, our spiritual life, which is going to affect positivity, our mindset, and all of that. So I thought, okay, you know what, even if it's been a crazy day or whatever, and I read 3 Bible verses or 1 Bible verse, right? That's still going to move that needle forward. That's still going to be a compounding effect of my spiritual walk and have that continued positive influence on other areas of my life. So I really liked that. And then I do totally agree with his saying that when we're in good physical health, that it just helps everything else in our life to feel and go better. And I am proof of that, right? Like I am such proof of that, that I can't speak of it enough. And I think even just the challenge of, walking for 15 minutes a day or working out or whatever that is that we use to challenge ourselves, that doing something we don't necessarily want to do, pushing ourselves to do something harder, that again trains our mindset to do hard things. And I know I talked about this on team call and he doesn't really talk about it specifically here, but just how like you don't have to want to do something to do it. You can just be strictly disciplined about it, and that has positive influence on our brain. So like why not, right? And Sam, my Sammy, he's going to have the hugest brain because he so frequently will say, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to. I'm like, well, you still have to do it. I don't want to wash my dish. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to bed. I don't want to get up. Okay. And he does all of those things every day, but he doesn't want to. And so he's going to get this big brain, right? That's why he's so smart. So that's pretty funny. But specifically the roadmaps, did anybody fill out their blank spaces? Did they fill out the prompts that he left? I thought that was great. I did this last time, I filled them out and I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, I don't even know what I meant by writing some of this stuff down, my little bullet points that I wrote in some of them. So that's pretty funny. But when we can have a specific dream, we can express it as a goal. Really writing down, this is the other challenge, that if we can really vividly write down. So we talk about this with our why, like my why with Plexus is X, Y, and Z. And when we really dig deeper and deeper into that and just start journaling and really go deeper than just the surface, then it really does drive our passion to continue to talk about our business, to talk about our products, and to drive us to continue to do our IPA. So if it's been a while since you've done that, I really encourage you to just journal and really think vividly about what your life will look like. Like, what time will you get up in the morning? What time will you go to bed? What's the first thing you're going to do when you get up? When you don't have a job that you have to go clock into, what is the first thing? Or maybe you enjoy working, so you're going to continue to work and you're going to be a quadruple diamond. Like, fine, that's totally fine. But what's the why behind that? Why are you so driven to go to that job? Because of the impact that you can have, probably, right? And he speaks of that later in this chapter too. Like, a lot of people go to work because they have to, not because they want to, not because they're in a job that they love. And so, you know, realizing that we have this opportunity to really enjoy what we're doing with Plexus and help people. And it's so rewarding to just hear the stories. That's why I think like reading through Gut Health and Happiness, why talking to just our own team members, getting those wins for our new joins is so important and so refreshing, and it keeps that excitement going for us too. So don't forget that, it seems like such a slight edge thing, but it really is a huge compound. And I have thought frequently while we've been reading this book, I'm like, I'm just gonna go slight edge the laundry. I'm slight edging all over this house. Like, just these little things that I can go, okay, my laundry's done. My laundry's all put away, hung up, taken care of. It's all managed. And it was so fast. Like it wasn't even a big deal, right? That was this load of laundry I did this week. The ones I have from like 2 weeks ago are still in the basket, right? Like, what did I do differently this time? So really analyzing those things for ourselves can be helpful too. But journal it out, journal what your life will look like when you have this why, and with our business specifically, and really go into details. Like, what are you going to drive? How is your giving going to look? Where are you going to be giving? Where are you going to give your time? Where are you going to give your money? What kind of food are you going to eat? Who's going to be making that food? Like really going into tons of detail can be really like great too, to get our creative mind working. And so then our IPA, our plexus doesn't feel like work. It feels like a creative outlet too. So, um, and also I love that sorry, kind of going backwards, but when we make health changes, even though like maybe the goal is to lose 30 pounds, but because we're implementing changes, or even when we start our products, that we have changes right away. Like, oh, I slept better. Oh, my pants fit a little better today within a week. Like there can be so many changes that are small, but we do feel better right away. And that can be really encouraging. And I think it's perfect going into our March challenge of reading 10 pages, walking 7,000 steps, taking our supplements, and writing 3 things we're grateful for. Like, I think how much better we're going to just feel, and we're like a positive group of people, right? But like, think how much even being really consistent with that and having that challenge and bringing people in that maybe haven't been exposed to those things can be so powerful. So, anyway, he really breaks it down to health, happiness, and that happiness leads to success. It's not the other way around. And out of that happiness, that's where we're really focusing on gratitude, giving, random acts of kindness, forgiveness, meditating, I would say prayer, and then relationships. And so, what is it that we can do to make our relationship with the people we live with better? And what about our close family members? How can we, like our parents, right? We're adults, so we don't live with our parents. So how can we help continue to fund those relationships too? Personal development and mindset is so huge. I love how he said that he would rather have $1 million mindset than $1 million. Because he knew if I have $1 million mindset, I can quickly make that money. It won't be a big deal. And I'm like, oh, that's a little challenging for me, like, oh, I think I'd take the money and I'll work on my mindset afterwards. Um, Reading the 10 pages a day, and then he goes into finances and career. So, and then just not forgetting that we have that ripple effect. We have a huge ripple effect. Just not forgetting that, we have a ripple effect in our family, we have a ripple effect in our jobs, and we do with our plexus. So those are the things I wanted to touch on and not take up tons and tons of time, because I think a lot of this can be so like to journal it out can be so beneficial too. So if you did that, you have to tell us about it. I listened to the chapters honestly and today, and then wrote down a few notes earlier too, but I want to spend some time this weekend and really go back through and really journal these things out.
I have not journaled this. I've been listening to it on Audible, but now that you say it, it makes me want to go back and do it too. Um, okay, so I have a few different things because like you talked about reading your Bible, you talked about working out, doing those little things like tackling the small to-do list things throughout your week so it doesn't get um I don't know what that was, but built up. So anyways, I've been working out. I mentioned that on a different call, and I made a post about that a couple days ago about how I literally just did not want to work out at all. And I haven't really wanted to work out at all this whole week, but it's like getting to the point where this book is playing in my head. And I'm like, okay, if I go work out, I'm going to feel so good after I work out. And then it just builds on top of each other. I don't I still don't want to go show up and do that. But now I know I'm going to feel good. And it's almost like I'm looking forward to that high feeling of overcoming that moment of like unmotivation and just blah. And then it's like, okay, remember you get to escape your kids for 30 minutes. And then it's also just 30 minutes. So in the book where he talks about what is like the baseline amount of time that you can for sure fit into your day. And before these last few weeks, I would have been like 30 minutes is not enough because I'm so used to working out for like an hour and a half in a weight room, not my basement with just what we have for 30 minutes. Like it's totally different. But now I'm loving it and I can easily fit in 30 minutes no matter what my day looks like. Another thing, tackle the deep cleaning of my bathroom. I feel like a new person. That's been being put off for months. And every day I look at it and it's just like, I have to get that done. But it's like one of those little things like paying someone off, like paying a dad or something. You know how he talked about that in the book too? And then vision casting while I'm working out, it's like killing two birds with one stone type of deal. I love vision casting, like with music on. And so this is like the perfect opportunity. I've always done this, even in high school. I didn't know what I was doing, but with sports and stuff, like I just always have done this. And I've always loved doing it while I work out. So this is something I look forward to. It's easy for me. But tonight, even though you mentioned this, like I was thinking very specific. Rochelle's been talking about this more with me on like calls. Like you have to be able to taste this vision that you're selling yourself, like feeling it. You talked about the car and like what is your seats going to look like? And I had not gotten that detail because I think part of it was like, that doesn't matter. It's going to be good enough. But that was like part of my brain that was settling for less, like almost like you didn't believe you deserved it. But now, anyways, I'm picturing that table we were sitting at on the cruise in that room where we're eating dinner together and it's like all red. And for some reason, I was just like, someone comes up to us and they're like, talking Plexus, like, what's your rank? What's your rank? And we were just like, we're all diamonds, a whole diamond table. And I was like, oh, yeah, that is such a good one. So I rode that wave for a little bit. I was like, we're just all diamonds. We're eating that fancy dinners, blah, blah, blah. And then to the Bible part that you mentioned, I have really felt like I've been praying a lot, but I try to always pray. But anyways, I feel like I've been praying more about this specifically. And God's like telling me, you have to do this first, or like it's just not going to work out. It's not going to feel right. You're going to be burnt out. Like you have to do this first. You know, you have to do it. You're not doing it because all the other brain stuff that you just convince yourself it's not, you don't have time for it. And the other day I didn't do it. My whole day was just annoying. And my kids were irritating me, blah, blah, blah. Everything was just terrible. And then I thought to myself, it's almost like God was telling me, like, you're going to start your day off right and your whole day is going to go right. Did it today? My whole day was right. And I thought, I know that that's not going to happen every single day, but it was almost like not a coincidence, but it was like, see, like this is what happens when you line your day up correctly. So yeah, those are my takeaways. And I just love the whole book.
Oh my goodness, I love all of that. So great, so great. And you're absolutely right. Like finding the what is your threshold? What is your minimum or maximum for the day? What is the amount of IPA that you can do every single day, no matter what? And then on the days that you have more time, you do more time, right? And what is the minimum amount of exercise or walking or reading or, how much time can you devote to cleaning, whatever, like looking at all of the things on your plate and then being realistic about it too. Because until like this book has helped me a lot with so many of these things, but like when we read it the first time and it's continued to, but I used to be like, oh, I can do X, Y, Z and all like I could do A, B, C, D all the way through Z in one day. And that's not realistic, like setting myself up to fail. And so I love that we can be realistic with our efforts and our goals and our plans and then build on that. And it's kind of like adding a vegetable versus not eating certain things, right? Instead of going on a diet, which a diet is just what we consume, but instead of saying, I'm not going to eat any carbs and no bread and no coffee and no this, and you just have this list of no's versus saying, I'm going to add a vegetable to each of my meals for the next 3 weeks. Let me see how I feel. So you just add a vegetable. Don't say you can't have something, just adding in a vegetable and seeing how you feel and then go from there. Okay, now I'm eating a vegetable at each meal. I'm going to eat 2 for lunch now and then 2 for dinner. Whatever. I think Melissa Allen was kind of like that, but it was way before Slight Edge even, but she started to she slight edged herself to eat more and more vegetables, and you guys can see her meal plans. There's tons of vegetables that they eat every day. But she taught herself how to do that. She added them in a little bit at a time. So anyway, the exercise, when we did the Slight Edge the first time, I started walking 15 minutes a day. And then I told you this when we started the book, it led me to going to the gym that I'm at now eventually. So, it's cool.
This book just came at such a great time um, in, I think, our growth as a business and as our team, is developing and growing. And it not only relates to our business builders and building the business, but also we have to bring this to our VIP customers too, and teach them the Slight Edge because they haven't been on the book club like we have. They don't understand what consistency means, and taking that 1% every day to improve their health, and they're looking for us, for those answers. So just remembering to take back what we've learned in this book and help our VIP customers implement it and meet their goals, whether it's weight loss or stabilizing their blood sugars or, having more energy, making sure that they're being consistent with their supplements, swapping out simple little meals, like instead of instant oatmeal, going to, old fashioned or, steel cut oats, instead, something that will, be more filling, adding those vegetables, swapping out maybe ground beef for ground turkey, just like little swaps like that to help them along the way, as well. So, not only for our business, but for our VIP customers too.
That's such a good point too. If people say, I don't drink water, we're like, well, drink half your weight in body weight and ounces, no, like, okay, start with a small glass of water before you have every meal. Start with a small glass of water when you first wake up, and then after breakfast, like slight edging them and just even saying like, oh my gosh, we read this book and it was super practical or whatever you want to say about it, and just say, let's think about it a different way. I have a friend who was started to be interested in Plexus, but then she's like, well, I'm going to wait until the summer when I can work out and eat healthy and take my Plexus and I like was like, well, has that worked for you in the past? Like, has it worked to just like cold turkey and change 5 different things in your life at one time? Or how about we get you started and you'll be used to drinking more water and you'll be used to taking some supplements, and then you'll also be craving better things for your body, which will ease into this transition of then adding in a workout as you go, So it's like I don't know, do we put these expectations? And my husband is one, he's like, I don't change everything at one time. Like he's anti-changing a bunch of things. And he's very steady. Let's just say that. Melissa, I hope I didn't steal your story about the vegetables if you were going to talk about that tonight. Anybody else? Aw, all right. I hope you guys are doing well. Looking forward to March, looking forward to our challenge. Great things coming from Plexus, so that is awesome to see, the company momentum too. And I'm looking forward to having it just continued uphill swing in our team here. So let it go to record that Elizabeth, I think, has the shortest book club to date of 24 minutes, because it will never happen again. And you guys have a good night.